All right, everybody, I want to be able to explain some of the highlights from Stephen, who came from Tony Robbins to talk with us briefly before Tony's going to be speaking up for Unleash the Power Within up in Dallas. But some of the things that he highlighted, I want to be able to address here. If you can read it here, number one is to get rid of all of the BS. A lot of people have belief systems that are completely limiting what they can achieve, and they're using that belief system based on the way that they were treated and also based on the way that they've experienced things in the past. Remember, historical performance is not an indicator of future results. In other words, if you were treated like garbage in the past, doesn't mean that your future is going to be garbage. Because in the past you made poor decisions and made mistakes, doesn't mean that your entire life will be one of failure and one massive big mistake. Each of us has the opportunity to adjust and say, we are right here. And now, depending on where we want to go, we set ourselves up and we move forward towards that direction. And that's what's going to be able to determine our actual future. And a lot of times when it comes to our belief system, what we want to be able to have a look at is, where do I want to go? Where do I see my potential? Who do I believe that I can become? And when we see that potential, it might scare us a little bit because we've never been there before. And I would say that for a lot of children, when we look at their eyes and they view things and they go through things, we're amazed at their courage. We're amazed at their perseverance to be able to master something, even though they've never been there before. And we need to have that childlike innocence to be able to embrace things and to run after things and to fall and to get back up. And so when we can see our potential out there, what we must do then is to put forth an amazing amount of action. Too often we find ourselves wanting to accomplish great things. We might even verbalize it to family and friends, and guess what happens? Is life comes back to us and we haven't taken any actions to get to where we want to go. People will say, Sherm, I want to be a motivational speaker. And I'll say, how many speeches have you given? Oh, I haven't given any. Well, then how many places have you went and talked to about giving that? So you've asked people if you can have an opportunity, an at-bat, if you will. And all of them come back and say, well, I haven't done that yet. I haven't got my ducks in a row. And I say, getting ducks in a row, are you literally doing something? Are you creating a spreadsheet and you're putting down a list of contacts and phone numbers and businesses and email addresses of who you are going to contact so you can speak? Are you creating your actual PowerPoint presentations or your actual material that you want to be able to talk about? And then they'll say no. Then I say, then what you're doing right now is you're noticing the potential where you want to go, but you haven't put forth any action. Action is going to lead us to results. Results are going to be somewhat of what we do want, and some results are going to be things that we don't want. So we might find ourselves in this scenario of being able to want to give motivational speeches to all these different organizations. We might find that, guess what? We've done some action, and we haven't got the results that we wanted. So we wanted action. We wanted people to buy a book. We wanted action. We wanted people to sign up with us. We wanted action when we did that presentation, and nobody decided to buy. So in other words, we had results that we didn't want. Again, we got to put it back into that belief system. Does that then mean that we're garbage? Absolutely not. Remember, life begins at 40. So if you're under the age of 40, you have a long way to go. If you're over the age of 40, guess what? Life just started for you. Remember the story of Colonel Sanders, who at the age of 65 started selling his KFC 13 herbs and spices at the age of 65. Didn't start mastering the recipe until the age of 40. Because he had heard on the radio station that life begins at 40. So understand that our belief system might be what's actually holding us back because of our limiting beliefs. Then we look at what's based on time. We can have a look at how we are emotionally. A lot of times when we go through great things, we're feeling excited and happy, and time seems to just fly right by. But when we're sitting down in something that's boring and confining and pushing up against us, then time seems to just drag along. So know where your emotions are when it comes to dealing with this belief system. Understand that your emotions are going to tell you whether you're in the right path. That if you're happy, you're going to be able to then make sure that you can continue to go forward with those things that give you that positive energy. Next is to have a look at your habits. That is extremely powerful. There's a great book out there called The Power of Habit, of how our habits can determine how we're going to be successful in the long term. What you'll find with a lot of successful people is they've done things. They've created habits in doing those successful things that lead to success. So what I mean by that is a failure will continue to avoid those tasks that get them to success. The person that wants to lose weight will continue to watch TV, will continue to have habits of bad eating and bad drinking, and thus not lose weight. The person that's successful has found a habit of putting exercise and health and nutrition when it comes to their eating and drinking habits for not only now, but also on a consistent basis that got them to where they are today. Then when we look at these habits, it's truly what's going to be able to lead us to our destiny. I know a lot of you heard that cliche. What you think is what you say. What you say is what you do. What you do, habit over time becomes your habits. Your habits become your character becomes your destiny. So a lot of times you can look at the habits that you have, they're either leading you to where you want to go or keeping you exactly where you are. And as life continues to pass by, is leading you in a backward situation. Next, there's a significant difference between shoulds and must. A lot of people are shoulding all over themselves. I should do this, I should do that. However, their attitude towards that is that there's a way out. If you must do something, gun to your head, it has to get accomplished. You'll typically do it, and you'll do it very well, and you'll do it very fast. And so if you could do that, and you treated it much differently, it's a mind shift. It's about being committed to that thing that you said you're going to do. It's like we've started on January 1st. Some people have some goals, they've written them down. They want to accomplish certain things, and then they go after it with a tenacity, with a strength, with overcoming those obstacles, because every single person is going to have obstacles that push in the opposite direction of you accomplishing what you want in life. And then what you find with those that are committed, they find out the solution. They'll take the time that's required to get to the answer. So if you sit at a math problem and it's given to you and you have no idea what it's asking, are you finding a formula? Are you going at this trying to find a different answer a multitude of times before you can get it? If I give you a Rubik's Cube, do you just go at it and then you just forget I can't do it? Or do you spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to get the greens all on one side and the whites all on one side? Too many times we allow our minds to be lazy in its thinking, that the moment that it's being pushed outside of the school realm, we decide no more, this is too difficult, I'm just not going to get it, and we end up giving up. Next is that we should be grateful for what we have, yet hunger for what we don't have. And so it's this yin and yang, it's this balance of being very content and happy with my lot in life. I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for my eyesight, I'm grateful for my hearing, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my job and my house and my car, all the things that I have. At the same time, I'm hungry. I want more. I want that more harmonious family relationships. I want that job promotion. I want that accomplishment. I want that sales results. I want a bigger team at my organization. I want more revenue. I want more profitability. And I'm hungry for it. But at the same time, I'm extremely happy for everything that I have in my life. It's this yin and yang balance that occurs. When we find going back to this hunger mentality, when we go to this hunger mentality, it's the idea of being resourceful, but more resourcefulness. It's that people will say, I have no money. You put in the ability to go find the money. So you say you have no money. So you decide that, well, I can work a third shift. I can sell all the crap in my garage. It's basically a storage unit. I have a storage unit. I'm going to save myself $80 a month. I'm going to sell everything inside that storage unit because it's adding no value to me right now, today, short term. Instead of hoping and wishing that eventually that that lamp from like a Christmas Story is what's going to sell hot on eBay. Again, just get rid of that stuff. Donate it to charity, take it on that receipt, and write it off. Next one is people often say, well, I'm not smart enough, I'm not ready. Then learn, get that knowledge, use the internet at your fingertips and learn everything that you can about that topic of information. A lot of times in life, we either avoid pain or we want pleasure. The avoidance of pain or the gain of pleasure. Pain and gain. Think about what it is that you want in life and then go after it. Some people, they do function better by chasing a carrot versus getting a stick. Then we need to change our belief to get the results that we want. And it's going to require discipline. Significant emotional events. So sometimes people will talk about hitting rock bottom. You don't want to get to that point of having a significant emotional event. You want to be able to create those on your own, having the decisions to go to where you want to go, having the decisions to be able to get what you want in your life. And finally, last two things, be consistent. That everyday mentality is going to get you to where you want to go. And then finally, momentum plus opportunity equals luck, or hard work plus opportunity equals luck. A lot of times what happens in our lives, the more that we're able to get what we want, the more likely it is that we're going to get more of what we want. So when we decide to put forth all the effort that we have in our own capacity, our own ability, we have a tendency then to do more of that action and be consistent at that action. And the more consistent we are at that action, the more that success that we're going to get. So let's go back to the person that decides to go for a walk because they want to get healthy. Now, as they go for a walk, if they keep track of these things, they'll find themselves going for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. And they say, you know what, I'm going to go for an entire mile. Now they go for 20 minutes. And after going for 1 mile, they decide, you know what, I want to do this faster. I'm going to do a little bit of jogging there. And so all of a sudden, a 25-minute mile now becomes a 20-minute mile, an 18-minute mile, a 16-minute mile. And they decide, hey, I'm doing a mile. I'm going to run and jog 2 miles. So that takes me now 40 minutes. You know what? I'd like to get this down to a 12-minute mile. And then what happens after a year and a half, they're able to finally run 2 miles without stopping in 24 minutes. But again, it took consistent discipline to be able to get to where they want to go. It took a ton of momentum and effort to build that habit that led to the success, that led to the action, that got the results that they wanted, and they continued to persevere. It's in these pain moments of building these habits that lead to success that are the most painful for a lot of individuals. So I want to encourage you, as you find yourself in no matter what spot of life, is to be able to put in the time that's required to get everything that you want out of it. It's all up to each of us to get what we want. So the moment that you have these ambitions, these goals, these dreams that you want to accomplish, think to yourself, am I willing to put in the effort, the time to get what I want out of it? The time is an arbitrary thing, by the way, but I'm willing to put in the effort because it might be 1 year, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. So for example, if you want to be a millionaire, that means 1, then 6 zeros. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have $1 million in my what? In your 401k account, in your savings account, in your checking account. Where is that money going to be held? Okay, so it's going to be held in my 401k. So right now, if you're making $80,000 and you put in 10% and you get a 5% match, that means you're putting in $8,000 from yourself, $4,000 from your employer, you're putting in $12,000. So you can just do simple math, 1 million divided by 12,000, how long is it going to take you to get there? And so if it's going to take you like 40 some odd, no, probably 80 years. If you put in some rate of return, it's going to eventually get there. So nonetheless, not to get too far down that rabbit hole, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to get there. The most important thing from a control perspective is not the control of time, it's control of the 10%. Putting that baby away and being focused on getting that account rise up. So many times people will tell me, sure, I want to make 6-figure income. And I'll say, how much is that per month? Look, I don't know. Well, wouldn't you like to find that out? You find that out, what it takes to get $100,000 in a year, 6 figures, a little over $8,000 a month. So once you know that number, now you know what to go after. If you're pulling in $4,000 a month, you're halfway there. So how much more do you need? How do you get that? Do you decide to join a network marketing company? Do you decide to sell some stuff on the sideline? Do you decide to rent out your house Airbnb style? Do you decide to buy a duplex and rent it out? Do you decide to get involved with some stocks and invest in buy low and sell high? Do you decide to do something different to make up that deficit? The average person is just because they thought of it that they're hoping it could come out. It's going to require effort, it's going to require drive, it's going to require perseverance. You're going to have to put forth the effort to get what you want out of it. Nothing in life is truly given. It's taken. You take a breath. You're given life from mom, but you took it from her as a tiny little fetus. In life, there's a constant need for you to be taking things and giving back. Again, it's a yin and yang, it's a balance. That you're taking things in this world and you're giving it right back on the other side. So think about the things that you're giving first, because you can control what you're giving. And sometimes when you take, depends if the other person is willing to give it. So keep giving as much as humanly possible, and you'll find yourself filled with a life of legacy. Sherm's out.